Yes, this is Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Right, I'm going to talk today a little bit about drinking culture in the prison service. Right, I didn't drink much at lunchtimes or anything like that when I was initially training, but I had a friend who did. And one night we were in the training school at Lay Hill, which is the training unit, or it was the training unit, national training unit for the prison service, which was at the time recruiting on a national basis. I believe nowadays they just recruit on a local basis, but they didn't then. In the 1970s, they had centralized recruiting, centralized recruitment drives, and for the entire UK. And you went to a central school, and one of the central schools was at Wakefield, and the other one was at Lay Hill. Now, Lay Hill was an open prison, basically the open prison, but there was a school attached to it, and it was near Bristol. Yeah, so we were in the training school, and I made a friend there. He was a nice, big, hefty guy, rugby player type, called Paul. I won't give you his last name, but his name was Paul. Yeah, and Paul and I used to go for a drink quietly, just 2 or 3 pints in the evening. Nothing dramatic. No, it didn't seem to me anything dramatic, But in them days, 2 or 3 pints, you could do it. I could do it, no problem. Can't do it these days. The reservoir won't take it. Anyway, in them days I could take it. So we went and we used to go to the officers' club at Lay Hill, which was the prison school was a big old mansion house, yeah, and the open prison, Lay Hill prison, was about a quarter of a mile, maybe half a mile away, just down the road, and there was a big farm, because that's how the prison was run, open prison, and they had like a farm there. They had cows and all the rest of it, and they also had a pig farm, which was maybe 30, 50 pigs, something like that, and it was maintained by the inmates, yeah. And they had a prison officers club there, which we, as trainee prison officers, were entitled to go and get a drink in. So me and Paul used to go and have a drink. This particular night, yeah, we went, and it would be about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and it was dark, pitch black. And I said to Paul, listen, I'm going now. He said, you're going to walk back, he said, I'm not going yet. I'm going to have another couple. I said, Paul, we've had about three or four. I said, enough, come on. We'll walk back together down the road. Now, I said, I'm going to cut back through the farm. I said, Paul, please do not do this. No, he said, it'll be all right. He said, I've seen what it's like. You just climb over the fence and straight through, and I'll get back. It's in a straight line, you see, to the mansion house. There was the mansion house, yeah. And there was the farm. You just straight across. The walking down the road, you had to go about, I don't know, 300 yards, turn left up the road, maybe about 500 or 600, 700 yards, then turn left into the thing. So it was a bit of a roundabout route, but hey, it was safe, So I said, I'm doing that. So Paul, who had continued to consume beer, and he really had quite a capacity, my friend Paul, and I never thought nothing more about it. I thought he'd be all right. Big lad, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, the next morning, we used to have to parade every morning, like soldiers on parade, one behind each other twice, 3 lines, yeah, shoulder to shoulder, yeah, like that. The principal officer come out and check all our names off. And anyway, this particular morning, after we'd been in the bar at night, me and Paul, there was this tremendous stink. The whole parade ground smelt. It was like a big open yard, next to the mansion house, which was an old mansion house, yeah, and it absolutely stunk. And the principal officer came on and said, who has been in the pig pens? Well, Paul stepped forward and he said, I've been in the pig pens, and it transpired what had happened. He'd taken the shortcut back from the club, which was there, to the mansion house, which was there, and he had gone over the pig, climbed over the fence through the pig farm, except he'd got about halfway, having had probably 6 or 7 pints, yeah, and slipped and fallen in the pig shit, and it has clung all over his clothes. And because he hadn't got a change of clothes with him, there he was on parade, covered in pig shit, and it absolutely, I think it was smelt pig shit. If you haven't, pop down to your nearest pig farm, get in the middle of the pig pen. I'll tell you, it absolutely stunk. And all the people, because he lived in barrack rooms, you know, and there were 4 people in his room, and they were absolutely up in arms about this. He'd staggered in about 11:30 at night, covered in pig shit, laid on his bed and collapsed, you know, because he could sleep for Britain, could Paul. And he collapsed, fully dressed, covered in pig shit, on his bed. He stank the bloody room out. So the principal officer said, right, go and get yourself changed, get yourself cleaned up, and I'll see you in my office. Anyway, I asked Paul how he went on, because he disappeared then, you know, off he went. I said, what happened? He said, they took me to see the governor in charge of the training school, who asked me outright if I'd got a drinking problem. And he said, I have to tell him, yes, I have. I can't really afford it. Seriously, he was a laugh, was Paul. Me and Paul, listen, he got posted to Wormwood Scrubs, and I got posted to Wormwood Scrubs. And we used to go out for a beer. I'm not a saint, you know. I liked a beer at the time. I didn't get pissed. I tended to try and stay reasonably sober. You know, 3 or 4 pints, I'd be all right. I could do it, you know. Not Paul. He could drink for Great Britain. But the problem that Paul had was, after he got about 6 or 7 pints, he couldn't speak. He could still drink, but he couldn't speak. And he insisted on phoning his wife. And his wife was in Liverpool. Now, he could still phone, but he couldn't speak. This is the God's honest truth. So he'd dial the phone, then he'd hand the phone to me, and I'd speak to his wife, say, yes, this is John here, Paul's here, he wants to tell you that he loves you. And Paul, with a pint in his hand, he'd be stood there looking at me going, I said, he wants to say that he's looking forward to coming. His wife would be shouting at me, get off the phone. Tell that drunken pig I don't want to see him. And I'd be saying to Paul, she says she loves you very much, Paul. Oh, yeah. That's it, yeah. Oh, the number of times I did that. She was furious with him. And when we finally met, because I'd never met her, you know, when we finally met, she shouted at me saying, you put him up to this. Me, you know, not me. Hey, one night we went out and we were celebrating something, I don't know, probably celebrating it was the Thursday or something like that, you know, something important. So we were in a Chinese restaurant in just outside Shepherd's Bush, because the Scrubs is in that area, West London, you know. And we were sat down and ordered a meal, you know, I don't know, sweet and sour pork, something like that. And this is honest truth, I sat at the table quietly. We only had a glass of beer each. We had nothing, hadn't really hit the town yet, you know. And through the door came 2 people, and they had a knife, and they grabbed one of the waiters, yeah, grabbed him by the neck, this big bloke and a woman, and they had a knife, and they started shouting, get us the takings, get us the money, get us the I said to Paul, robbery here, you know. I said, we can't have that. I said, I'll tell you what, this is honest truth. I said to Paul, I'll take the big boy, the big fella, and you get the woman. We'll just throw him into the street. He never thought nothing about it, you know. I mean, we must have been mad. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I said, on the count of three, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, up I was up, grabbed this big bloke by the hair at the top of his head, snatched his head back, chopped him in the throat, he dropped his knife, dragged him out, threw him in the street, he fell on the floor, he didn't move, so I must have done him a fair whack. And the next thing, this woman goes flying through the air, bush on top of him, and we shut the door to the restaurant, went back in, sat down, and started eating our meals again. The manager of the restaurant, oh, thank you so much. I said, don't worry about it. You know, we can't have armed robberies when we're having our tea. I will pay you to look after my. I said, don't. You're not the Cray twins, you know. We've come out for a Chinese meal. Yeah. They wanted to hire us to protect the restaurant. Yeah, they must. Anyway, we never heard any more about that. And the poor, well, they weren't poor, they're dangerous bastards that we'd thrown out. Yeah, they must have just picked themselves up and thought, what the hell happened there? And run. That was just part of the drinking experiences that I had when I was serving as a prison officer at Wormwood Scrubs. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, do subscribe. You get my book, Psychic Screw. I like it.